We're in election season now, and politicians are gonna politic, and that means calling out each other among other things. So JLP calling out PNP, PNP calling out JLP, maybe some other P getting involved. That's all a part of this game called political football. Now the political ombudsman is supposed to be the referee, but we're the ref there. I'm Donna Jackson Miller. Thanks for joining me. Time for tea. The Office of the Political Ombudsman was set up under an interim act. That's because the office was supposed to be made permanent and eventually protected by being included in the Constitution. It's right there in the acts. The Political Ombudsman is supposed to keep the peace between two warring sides. According to the law, the Political Ombudsman is supposed to investigate any action taken by a political party, its members or supporters, where they are of the opinion that that action constitutes or is likely to constitute a breach of any agreement, code or arrangement between the political parties, or is likely to prejudice good relations between the supporters of the various political parties. So the Political Ombudsman in Jamaica is supposed to police the political code of conduct. And you know we have one of those, right? Signed from in the days when Bruce Golding led the Jamaica Labour Party and P.J. Pattison led the People's National Party. And it says all kinds of great stuff. So for instance, it talks about affirming commitment to non-violent relations between the parties. I pause for just a moment to note the use of the word non-violent. Not the word peaceful, but anyway. Now, when the last political ombudsman's term of office was coming to an end, that's Donna Parchment Brown, people are noticing that, hold on, we haven't heard anything about whether her term was going to be renewed or whether somebody else was going to be appointed. Well, none of that happened. Instead, in 2024, just before the local government elections, the government passed a law that integrated the Office of Political Ombudsman into the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. Now, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica is a body that's in charge of running elections for Jamaica. Now, most people thought this was a very bad idea. Former chairman of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, Professor Hera Blair, called it the worst legislation affecting electoral laws passed by the Jamaican Parliament since becoming a nation in 1962. Prof, tell us how you really feel, man. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. But he wasn't alone, right? National Integrity Action, for instance, the Jamaica Council of Churches, people were saying, don't do this. Leave the office as a standalone entity. So, you know who are the members of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, right? So under the law, you have 4 commissioners who are known as selected commissioners. People sometimes call them independent commissioners as well. These members are jointly agreed upon by both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, and it's one of the selected members that always chairs the commission. Then now, you have 4 other commissioners who are straight politicians. 2 of them nominated by the Leader of the Opposition, 2 of them nominated by the Prime Minister. So here you have a body, right, of which half of the members are politicians coming from the 2 parties that would be causing the problems that would go to the political ombudsman. Why on earth would you want this particular entity hearing complaints about the parties? In addition, they're supposed to run election. They have work to do. So we had the local government elections in 2024. At this time, the act had just been passed. It was pretty new. We barely heard a peep out of the Electoral Commission, all right? I'm going to say barely because I went looking, for instance. They did say that there was a portal that members of the public could send in complaints to. What there was a face of the political ombudsman. Who is the political ombudsman? Who is this person I'm supposed to be putting my trust in and carrying my complaints to? I tried to get a representative from the Electoral Commission to talk to me on my radio program very recently about what's the mechanism? Who is this ombudsman or what, or who, plural? What's the mechanism for complaints and for resolving complaints? They told us they weren't ready to talk and they'd send out a statement soon. Respectfully, this is not it. That should have been done immediately after the act came into effect and these new responsibilities were sent to the ECJ. Now we have a much more serious election. Sorry, local government people, we have a much more serious election coming up with the general election. Now, for the people who I know are going to be chiming in very quickly and saying, look, the Office of the Political Ombudsman is a waste of money, it's a waste of time, the politicians don't pay it any attention anyway. let me say a couple of things. First of all, the fact that the decisions of the political ombudsman aren't respected by the politicians is not a reason for getting rid of the office. It's actually an argument for strengthening it, for giving the office enforcement powers, such as, for instance, maybe levying fines, and certainly I would think being able to make public statements of censure, I would call it, because those are things that can call people out and embarrass them, and really say, you need to do better. We should cry shame on any politician or political party that is ignoring or disrespecting the office of the political ombudsman, which is an office that was set up specifically to help to maintain peace and law and order. They need for shame. Some of the issues that the office deals with might sound minor. I've asked these questions as well. Things like what color flag people are hung where, the orange flag them over there, so the green flag them over there, so what kind of petty, stupid, silly nonsense is said on the political campaign trail. And trust me, is a whole heap of petty, stupid, silly nonsense that's said on the campaign trail. But at the same time, it has to be seen as important that we have an independent office with a respected office holder that acts as a forum where people can come and bring complaints about these kinds of things when people blood are run hot. And I have found the office holders to be respected people who can do that and who have done that. So the last political ombudsman was Donna Parchment Brown, attorney at law, former Custos dispute resolution specialist, eminently qualified for a job like that. Nothing seemed to faze her. Politicians never seemed to be able to get under her skin. Before her, you had Bishop Hera Blair, again, well respected for his community and church work. When people like that talk, you feel the temperature in the room go down. And that's what you need. So with the 2025 general election coming up now, people have been asking again, where's the ombudsman? Where the ref there? How is this working? You've had CAFE, Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, our local election watchdog group, National Integrity Action, former Ombudsman Donna Parchment Brown, who I was just speaking about. One of the things to bear in mind, is that the Office of the Political Ombudsman is an oversight institution. We need oversight institutions to watch over government, watch over, in this case, the political parties. Good governance means that these institutions are set up to work and allowed to work. And allowing them to work means not tying their hands, not putting them in impossible situations. It means resourcing the office properly. If they have an investigative function, giving them enough people to actually investigate. Examples of other oversight institutions are the Auditor General and Integrity Commission, for example. We all need to be concerned when oversight institutions are undermined or weakened. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has defended the government's decision. He says it's because the ECJ has politicians on it, while the government thinks it's the institution to do this particular job. He said the Electoral Commission is well placed to address and resolve any breach of the political code of conduct or treat with any incidents of political misconduct because of the fact that the two main political parties are represented from the outset during any deliberations, and the 4 nominated members are well versed in adjudication. He said concerns about the Electoral Commission taking on political disputes were ill-conceived, saying the ECJ has, since its inception, contributed to the decision-making processes governing establishment of constituency boundaries, placement of polling centres, and other constituency disputes, and says it has on occasion had to mediate between contesting candidates. I hear the Justice Minister, but I don't think the idea of the ECJ having both political parties on board as a means of coming to decisions on matters involving the running of elections is the same thing as mediating between the two sides in political disputes. I don't think it's the same thing. Sometimes you can try a thing and it just not work, and you say, okay, I could do something else. In this particular situation, I think this decision should be reversed, but not to go back to the status quo, not to go back to the office of the Political Ombudsman as it existed. We need to protect the office in law. We also need to give it stronger powers, some enforcement powers. I mentioned 2 possibilities already: power to fine, power to publicly censure. There are a whole heap of recommendations that can be looked at in terms of how we improve the office, but that's what we need. We need to go forward, not backward, and I think subsuming the office in the Electoral Commission was a definite step backward. What do you think? Comment below. Make sure you keep it civil, alright? Remember to like the video, share it with somebody you think might be interested, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and of course, click the notification bell so you know anytime I drop a new video. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being there. I'm Donna. Back to my tea.